guys, welcome back to my vlog. So I decided that I'm going to let you into a little side of me that I spoke about very briefly in my introduction. And that is about the fact that I am the founder and team leader of a paranormal investigation group. As you see this lovely gentleman beside of me, this is my husband Greg.
Hi.
He is the co-founder of Enigma Paranormal Research and Investigation, which is our paranormal baby, basically.
Link below.
Definitely will be a link below to our website so you can check out some of the stuff we have. So, we just want to tell you a little bit about Enigma itself and the reasons why we decided to get into this crazy world and community. Mostly the reason why I joined it was because I had a few, I wouldn't say incidents, but definitely experiences when I was younger about the time that I was a sophomore in high school. And ever since then, I have been interested and obsessive in the way that I've looked up and researched anything dealing in the paranormal world. So why did you get into it?
I followed you.
It's true, he did. He had like zero wants to be in the paranormal world. However, my obsession runs deep. And it took a little bit of convincing, but after going on a ghost hunt while we were on vacation, he fell in love with it too. So, is that it?
So, the difference between a paranormal investigator and a ghost hunter.
Right. So that is a very common question that is asked, is there a difference? And the answer is yes, there is a difference. And the difference is that as a paranormal investigator, we look at every aspect of the paranormal world. We are not solely focused on hauntings and the different types that there are of hauntings. So one of the things we actually do is, I don't know if you can actually see it behind me, we have a book of the local legends of North Carolina. And that is something we like to do. We like to research and investigate some of the urban legends around here. One of the best known in North Carolina is the Devil's Tramping Ground. And that is actually, what, about an hour from us? Hour and a half from us?
Yeah, roughly.
And we do plan to go out there and actually do an investigation one day. And the reason why we're interested in the whole of the paranormal world, I would say, is because the question isn't just what happens after we die, but what else is out there. And I really feel, I don't know about you, but I really feel that that's a really interesting question. I think that when you bring the science side into things, it's interesting how it can prove theories or disprove theories. Now, when we first began our career, I guess you would call it, our quest into the paranormal world, we actually had no idea how to start. And let me know if you actually want any information about Paranormal 101 or Investigation 101. We could go into detail about some of the equipment that we use, some of the programs we use, and that kind of information. Now, where we are currently is we do not use a lot of equipment, believe it or not. We have the basic things that we need.
Pretty bare bones.
Pretty bare bones. And that's because I'm of the thought process, and I'm sure Greg will agree with me, that if you're going in to investigate things, you only need the bare bones things. You don't need a whole bunch of equipment that's unnecessary and just a waste of money. In fact, the number one thing, the best thing you can have on every single investigation is a notepad and pen. And that's literally the best thing you can have. As well as digital recorders, EMF gauges.
Yeah, it's extra stuff, but I mean, you know, personal experiences go well beyond anything that we could get on a expensive meter. you know, that's ultimately what got her started, and what really got me believing too was what we experienced on our own, and said, this is not normal. Something's going on here.
Yeah. So we mostly do residential cases. That's what the area that we're in, the most needed, the most call for. And we actually had a sort of, I would call it an apprenticeship under another group from a different area. We're very fortunate in that because it is really hard to break into the paranormal community.
Yeah.
They're a tight-knit group of people, and even if we don't agree on certain measures or theories, we're still very supportive of one another. And that's because of how much ridicule we actually get. And it's really nice to have that we can reach out to people. We have a group in Nevada that we regularly correspond with.
Right.
As well as I have one in New Zealand that we talk to, as well as one in Holland that we talk to quite regularly. So it is, regardless of where you are in the world, it is the same community. It's the para community, if you will. That's what we call it. And it's a great place to be, but it is hard to get into.
Yep.
We were very fortunate to find the group, and they happened to be looking for a couple new members at the time. And so we joined them for quite a few investigations.
Basically, we just needed to kind of get our feet wet on our own and figure out our own style.
Yeah, every group has their own style. Every group has their own belief. And personally speaking, with Enigma, we go into investigations solely with the thought process that our equipment and science are going to do the work. Mm-hmm. We go with our gut instinct as well. There's no better instrument than your own body. Yep. But we don't claim to have clairvoyance or mystics or psychics, mediums, empaths, anything like that. Now, with that said, I do believe that everyone has their own specialty, if you will, and that we all have things that we're really good at. That's kind of our own niches. Mine is the EVP world. I can get some awesome EVPs, and I have. And we're actually going to include a couple of our favorites that we've caught throughout the past few investigations in the end of this video. It's actually really cool and really interesting. Greg is really good with the programming, as well as another extended member, Ashley. Enigma itself has 3 core members. That's myself, Greg, and then Tara. And then we have extended members that are in other areas that range from here in North Carolina as well as up in Massachusetts. So our Massachusetts team member actually is really good with listening to EVPs and decoding what they're saying. So, as well as computer dynamics, if you will. Now, I thought that in this particular video, we'll go over some of the most frequently asked questions that we get, either emailed or called about or texted about, family members calling us and whatnot. And so the very first and foremost is, yes, there is a difference between paranormal investigator and a ghost hunter. Neither one is right or wrong. Ghost hunters just have a focus on hauntings. The only difference. The second most common questions we get is what?
Are you crazy for going out and doing this?
No, we're not. Yeah, the second most interesting question we get is, are you insane?
Yeah.
Why are you going out to seek these things? A lot of people believe that hauntings have to do with darkness, and that's not necessarily the case. Now, is there darkness? Yes, there is definite darkness out there. Have we encountered it? Yes, we have. Not to the extent that some other groups have.
Well, I think another thing too is some people have a misconception that since we're going out looking for ghosts, that we're into Satan worshiping or demonic or anything like that. But we're actually a Christian-based group.
We are. Greg and I are actually in the process of going into Episcopalian belief, and which is a form of Christianity. And what it means that we're a Christian-based group, it doesn't mean that we shove our religion down people's throats.
Right.
But it does mean that we stick away and we kind of stay away from the darker side of investigations.
Right.
You are going to see a lot of investigators who actually upload to YouTube who use things such as the Ouija board or summoning or, I wouldn't say Wicca because Wicca's really not that way, but more of the witchcraft.
Right, spells, rituals,
Yeah.
Very dangerous territory. We just don't do that.
Yeah, we don't know enough about it to say that we can do certain things. Now, are we equipped to do cleansings? Technically, yeah, we are. But we only do that in the cases that our clients are really distressed and really want it. And in that case, we use all different kinds of prayers. We use white sage, holy water. Lots of prayer, blessed oils, that kind of thing in that case. But it is very few and far between when we ever have done it. In fact, to date, we have not had to do a cleansing. And I'm really hoping that it keeps it that way. I hope that we never come across something so dark we will have to.
Right.
Now, the third most common question is, why do you investigate in the dark? And perfectly honest answer to that is because it works with our schedule. We both work full-time as well as Tara. She works full-time. And it's so much easier to do it at night. Now, can you investigate during the daytime? Yeah, you can. Yes, you can get all kinds of good evidence from it as well. The reason typically that people do it at night is because it's easier to see apparitions, or it could be easier to get... There's a belief that, especially on Halloween, that the veil, if you will, is a little bit thinner. So you do have some more activity after the witching hour, which is 12 o'clock. How long do investigations usually last is another question we're asked quite often. And it ranges. It depends on the type of activity we're getting and the type of activity that's claimed. We go in and we try to debunk things. We try to make sure that it's not a natural cause. A lot of times when people are getting those icky feelings or feel like somebody's watching them or they're getting nauseous or something like that, that could be due to electromagnetic fields. And people who have high sensitivity to electromagnetic fields tend to not realize how bad it can be. If you're in an older home, a lot of times that's the case because the wiring's old or because they don't think about where the boxes are in relation to where they are in the room. So especially older homes with basements, that is the absolute worst.
You get into wiring, pipes, just the entire layout.
Yeah. So I'd say another question is that we get quite often is, how can you call yourself a Christian and yet investigate hauntings as well or anything else? And to be completely honest, it's because we are Christians and we believe that these things happen. Now, I don't feel like it has any bearings on my religion. I don't know about you. Or anything like that, but I can see how people may confuse it.
Right.
I've had too many things unexplainable happen to me for me to discount it completely. Another common question we're asked about is, what are orbs? The orb conversation, it's even putting it mild, the debate is what it is. Orbs are this huge debate within the community, and either you believe in them or you don't. No one's in the gray.
And honestly, we could probably do a long video
about
evidence
orbs
and things that we've caught.
Yeah, I would agree with that. So here's Enigma's stand on orbs and orb activity. We are in the gray area of that, and it's because there are things that are definitely not orb activity, and there are things that are unexplainable. And we've caught a couple things that are pretty unexplainable. Our personal beliefs are that the orb activity are a type of energy. Now, does that mean that it's a ghostly energy or a haunting? I don't think so. I think it could be. But ultimately, to me, it comes down to that it's energy. It is just a manifestation of energy. We could go into a whole other vlog when we talk about different types of hauntings and the ins and outs of coming across the darker world. And if that's something you guys are interested in, please let us know. We're happy to go into it. But I really love what I do. If I can make this a full-time job, I would. I really do enjoy it. I enjoy the aspect of the unknown, and I enjoy the fact that we're helping our clients.
Yeah.
Because 9 times out of 10, the clients that we receive are people who are afraid because people fear what they don't know.
Right.
And so they just want some kind of knowledge of what's there, generally speaking. Because then once you're armed with that information, you know how to handle it. And we can help people handle it. So, yeah, we've had a couple cases that have I had one case one time that actually scared the bejesus out of me. But what about you?
I've had a couple where I kind of wish we could have spent a lot longer. The evidence we got just started rolling. Yeah. And it's an interesting experience. If you ever get a chance to check it out, it's a lot to take in. But
it is.
Yeah.
It is. But, and so that kind of answers another common question we get is, are you ever afraid? And I've only been afraid one time. And that's because where we were, I was going into a particular room and I did not feel welcomed. And it freaked me out because it was like everything in my body stood up at attention and red flags were flying. And everything repelled me from that room. And it took me almost all night to get there.
Right.
I did finally go in, but it took me all night to get there. Yes, we've heard growling. Yes, we've had some darker things come across. Yes, we've seen shadow people. I have. You saw shadow people at the last investigation.
Yep. We've had our jewelry messed with, hair.
What else do we want to talk about?
We have links below for all different types of social media, our email or website. We're not just here for the business, but we're also here for questions, for personal experiences. Definitely reach out to us if you want to talk about these things. If you have questions for us. Things that we need to explain in better detail, we can definitely do that in another video. But
yeah, this is a really vague video, and mostly because there's so much to this work that it's really hard to, unless you're going in specifically to certain areas, it's really hard to pin down.
Right.
And so when I decided that we should make this vlog, I was like, I have no idea how even to start this. There's so much information to it. So, again, if you have questions, feel free to check us out on one of our social media sites, as well as leave a comment below, or you can just email us.
Yep.
And one of the two of us can answer for you. So, thanks for joining me.
Yep.
So the next time you're going to see Greg is actually in a future vlog that I do. It's going to be about the uncomfortable combos and in relation to how he is labeled an FA or chubby chaser because he married me. And the dynamic surrounding that and why he does not identify as either. So be sure to check it out. That should be up next week, I think. And I'll be doing a couple more videos this week. So don't forget to subscribe. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you have any questions, remember to ask below. So until next time, guys.
Yeah, let me see that. Alright, grab that.
Yeah, it's just my arms is cold. And I got goosebumps like on my legs or whatever. It's almost like a breeze, but it's not. Oh, how would you describe that?
What?
I picked up something on the camera a second ago.
Did you?
Yeah.
Are you gonna be nice and show up on my cameras? Can you say that again? I couldn't understand you. What is that? I did. Oh!
Back there?
Yeah.
Yeah.